So, everyone hearing me? Anybody hearing me? Okay, you can minimize that now, Tyler. There we go. We good? Awesome. Hey, Tyler, close the door. Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and good evening to our European players, and good to see you. It's been a bit, obviously, since my last live stream, and today I think is going to be an interesting one. One of the worst things about running a game studio is having to deliver bad news. And certainly a couple of months ago, we had to deliver some very bad news. And that was difficult. Never enjoy it, and it really doesn't matter if it's bad news about a game being delayed, it's bad news about features being cut, that sort of stuff just frankly sucks. Today, on the other hand, today is a different day. Today is a great day. What am I going to tell you? I think some of the IT folks in the room right now know exactly what I'm going to say, and I hope many of you also have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to say. I'm here to tell you that beginning on Wednesday this week, we are going to begin our pre-alpha testing for everyone in our game who had purchased a tier with alpha testing and above. So what does this mean? What this is going to mean is starting on Wednesday, everyone in those tiers, and again, those are alpha guys, those are IT guys, will be able to play in the exact same version of the engine that our IT folks are currently playing in. What we're going to start with is something that is going to be maybe a little bit unexpected. I think it's worth it, I think it's fun, and I'll explain why, but it may be a little bit unexpected to some folks. When we were late, we made a decision that we were going to, of course, continue to focus on tech. We were not going to try to push the game out too soon. We weren't going to try to put in more features from the finished game to try to either raise more money or to just get people excited. We were going to double down on tech and also make it a little bit of fun at the same time. So what you guys are going to be seeing is something that's in between a pure engine demo and a bit of a game at the same time. All of you who are in alpha will soon, probably today, be getting a rather lengthy FAQ which will tell you everything you need to know about what you're going to be seeing and playing in starting this week. What that is, so you've seen, obviously, for those who have seen any of our streams from the game, call it an instance, call it a battleground. We took that, made it a bit bigger, prettied it up a little bit, throw in some objectives into the game, and added a ton of abilities. You've seen our Banes and Boons. You've seen or heard about the character creation process. What you're going to be doing is coming into something that, frankly, is a game. It's not the game. It's certainly not the game we are going to make, but it is a game in and of itself that is fun to play, that has things like dots. It's got buffs. It's got debuffs. We've got projectiles. We've got projectiles that arc like catapults. We've got projectiles that will track you all across the map. We've got other projectiles that just fire, in a mostly straight line. We have lots of abilities. We've got heals in the game. We just have a lot of things that will allow you folks to actually have some fun while you're helping us debug and test probably some of the most important code in the game. And then as the networking code, the client server code, the idea of these finished abilities that obviously with our craft and ability system, whether it's magic or fighting, melee, excuse me, has to be in there. We have character persistence in there. We've got all sorts of other fun things in there. We've got fireballs that hit water balls and create steam. We've got walls. We've got all sorts of, kind of fun stuff already. And over the next few months, well, actually over the next 5 months, until we get into actual alpha testing, this pre-alpha test build will continue to get all the kind of finished, or I shouldn't say finished, that's a terrible word, up-to-date builds after our IT folks have beaten it all to heck. So whatever you see on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, whenever you come in, is actually not Thursday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, by the way, is our current schedule, is going to be changed. It's going to be developed on. It's going to be improved. And as the weeks and months go by, you're going to be seeing more of the game actually make it into the build. That's, quite frankly, a lot of what we're going to be doing for the pre-alpha test 2 and 3, and however we break down, these tests. But over the next, say, just the next couple of weeks, you guys and gals are going to be able to come into the game and play it. You're going to see exactly what the IT players have been beating on now for weeks. And right now I want to thank all of our IT testers who participated so fantastically in helping us get this ready for the pre-alpha test. We really wanted to make sure that what we put out was not only fun, but stable. And we've been beating on it, we've been knocking out bugs, and in the last few days, no server crashes, no slowdowns, not major certainly. We solved a whole bunch of client issues, and so it was great. So what's going to happen is, at the end of the day today, again, I'm going to be sending an email out to all of our backers explaining what has happened. I'm also going to send out maybe another email with the pre-alpha FAQ, which is going to tell you, again, everything you want to know, or hopefully everything you want to know about pre-alpha testing. I'll tell you the rules, the requirements, things like, don't stream it, don't distribute it, it's still under essentially an NDA, and just a whole lot more. For example, how to play your archetypes. And the archetypes, for example, are not classes. We didn't want to go with classes, because if we go with classes, then people start talking and saying, oh, but this class isn't like you said it was. Well, that's why we're not using classes, because we're not at that point. But we do have archetypes. So we have a fighter archetype, we've got a mage archetype, and of course we have a healer archetype. And each of the different realms and each of the different archetypes have their own spells. So these are not mirrored spells. They are not identical. Already they are not identical between all the realms, neither are the abilities. We have a lot of the races in the game. Not all of them, a lot of them. So that's what you're going to be seeing in a nutshell. And starting on Wednesday, what we want you guys to do is, we're going to have, again, these different times. We want you to come in and help test, for example, the server queuing code, to help see, what changes I'm sure we're going to have to make. We want to see how the engine performs, or actually engine performs under higher load. Obviously, we've had some great help from our internal testers, but we need even more. And that's where you alpha folks come in. So the next, this week is just going to be about stress testing. After that, we're going to go to a more, hate the word regimented, but it is kind of regimented testing, where we're going to have different test times that you guys and gals can sign up for, depending on your current time zone or your work schedule. So we'll have 3 major time slots. Right now, late afternoon, early evening and then late evening. Times still to be determined, but it should be quite convenient for everyone in Europe, as well as the East Coast of the U.S. and the West Coast. Once you sign up for that time, you'll be given essentially a code. And that code will allow you into alpha tests during certain days. Now, why are we doing it this way instead of just having a ton of servers for everyone open all the time? Obviously, servers cost money. We're not asking for more. Servers cost money, and frankly, it doesn't make sense to keep spinning up large numbers of servers in the hopes that people either show up or in some cases don't show up. So we're going to break it down. You're going to know when and where your tests will be over the next few months. And then depending on how much traction these tests get, depending on how much you folks take advantage of it, then we can also make some other adjustments. So, that's it in a nutshell. We're really excited about this. Certainly having a game that the internal testers can tell you has been really stable over the last few days, where the number of server crashes have been pretty damn tiny, though we had one nasty slowdown bug that we think, maybe multiple slowdown bugs that we certainly looks like we've taken care of. But we're in really good shape. We're quite happy about it, as a matter of fact. I think, and I hope, all you folks in Alpha will be as well. You'll get to create a character, for example. I mentioned the Banes and Boons earlier that you've seen on our website. So you'll get a feel for what it'll be like once the game becomes more of a game, what the character creation process will be. So if you don't like it, you'll have the opportunity to tell us very early. If you do like it, well, obviously tell us that as well. You'll get a feel for what we've talked about during the BSC days about how in-depth character creation is, how important your choices are. That it is not a character creation program that you can simply go in, push a button, character's done. You're going to see just how many choices you're going to have, how many Banes and Boons we have already, which is over 400, though we do expect that number is going to go down. So that's pretty much what you're going to see, and we hope that you will be excited about it. Again, over the next few months, we will continue to add more. I've got whiteboards here full of the different features that will go into the game, and maybe not this week, but probably next week, we will of course post the PAT2 checklist, where you folks, just as you saw with the first PAT, will be able to see exactly what we're going to put in for the next PAT. You're going to see, just as we did the last time, how well we're doing on it. You'll be able to gauge our progress, on certainly a week-by-week basis, if not more often, depending on how quickly things go in. And of course, for those guys on our forums, you'll have a chance to talk to them about it. We're still there. We don't lurk. We certainly get involved in some discussions and talk to you folks about things like how to build mods for our UI, or we have discussions obviously about different aspects of the game. And so for those who haven't been on our forums and who get into Alpha, that'd be great. I hope you guys do go into the forums and let us know what you think. So I think that's it for pre-alpha news. In general, other than that, everything goes well here. We're still we're in a very small space right now. Essentially, we're in the storage room because the rest of the office is still being worked on. Hopefully by the end of November, if not before, it'll all be done. And so we can go back to actually recording in the correct room and frankly clean up the office a bit. But that's moving along nicely. We're still looking, if anyone hears this, we're still, who's looking for a job and have a 3 talented programmer, we're still looking for additional programmers. We've been talking to a couple folks about music, actually, and adding a score to the game. We know we have to have one at some point, but it'd be nice if we get started a little bit earlier with that. Let's see, what else? That's really it. I mean, we've really been so heads down over the last few weeks in trying to get the game to the pre-alpha stage that we, haven't been talking a lot, and we haven't been doing really anything except, for the most part, that's related to that. So, that's it on big updates. Again, things, frankly, couldn't be going better right now. Yeah. So, as always, folks, especially to our IT guys who are just so helpful, not only over the last few weeks, but over the last few months. Thank you so very much for your time and your support, both of the IT process and for everyone here who may be hearing this, and for all our backers, as always. We thank you very much for your support. And so now I'll do some Q&A. So the rules for this Q&A, try to focus one question, please. If I skip your question, feel free to ask it again. I certainly would rather answer questions about pre-alpha, but if I see some that interest me, I'll certainly be willing to ask more. Answer more. It's about what, 4:18. So let's say we do this until 5 o'clock. So let's go. Let's start with the questions. How long will be the test? Each test will probably be an hour. The stress tests will be longer. We plan on running a lot of tests. So this will not be, just so we're very clear about this, this won't be a pre-alpha testing period where we run one test a week and go, hey, we just ran a test for you guys. We want to have a lot of tests. We don't want to burn you guys out, obviously, on testing or even playing the game, because it is closer to a game than now just an engine. So you will certainly have a ton of opportunities over the next 5 months to get into the game if you're alpha or above. And that's the thing. This is bonus time. Am I happy that we were late? No, of course not. It sucked. But I am very happy that we can offer this to you folks, to our alpha folks, who will now be able to get in and, see the build and see the game ahead of, I don't want to say schedule, but ahead of our current schedule. IT is, of course, invited to all tests. That's part of being IT. Plan on releasing some instructions on how to submit a bug in the correct way. I will be forums for now. Question about my diet. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I've been working really hard over the last 5 weeks at the gym. I go 4 or 5 times a week, and so far the body's held up. So thank you for that. I am quite a lot thinner, and for all the right reasons. Question, are the AMD card frame rate issues fixed? As of now, there are no open issues with AMD cards, as far as I know. There may be something on Andrew's list that I'm not aware of, but I doubt it. So no worries there. Are people allowed to stream or YouTube the tests? No. This is pre-alpha, folks, and until we are, ready to go public with it, then we're not going to allow streaming or distribution. And we ask everyone to, honor, that request. Do we expect to keep an NDA up for the entire process, including alpha? Actually, no, we don't. But because what we're going to be showing is not the gameplay of Camelot Unchained when we launch, we certainly don't want a bit of confusion. I mean, we don't intend to have projectiles that can track over a 400 meter map from side to side. We don't expect to have, some of the other things that, whether it's the very, very long cooldowns of some individual spells, though we will have long cooldowns, for example, and long cast times for group spells, which is a BSC thing. we're not going to have those in the finished game. Just as in this game, we may have spells that are even quicker than we plan on having, just so we can test some of those things. Can we read behind keys in pre-alpha? Yep, already done. Are you going to be able to test for exploits? Yeah, God, I hope so. That's part of what we want for both our alpha and IT guys. Will people still be able to buy alpha access? Oh, absolutely. The alpha access you can buy certainly at least until we open alpha, which hopefully will be in February. Will there be any NPCs, especially one that looks like me, so you can kill me? I certainly have a sense of humor about that, no problem, but we won't have that in for right now. Are we going to put some of the content of the website in Spanish? If we can get volunteer folks to help translate and localize from our backers, we'll be happy to do that. Will characters be wiped after each test? Valdis says these are not characters, as you know. These are archetypes. Will we wipe? Yes. We're going to wipe early. We're going to wipe often. I said this before the Kickstarter, I think, even on one of the either Reddit threads or on certainly the foundational principles. Look, wiping is something that we should all be quite comfortable with. We have promised that we're not going to charge during this period, during the alpha as well. And, you guys and gals are not going to be playing, you're essentially the live game. And so, yes, we are going to be wiping all the time. That's just how it is, and that's how it has to be. Any ETA on Founders tiers? Well, now that we have announced pre-alpha, yeah, we're going to get back to that. We didn't want any distractions whatsoever, or as few as possible, until we reach the point that we are today. And the other thing is, I didn't want to start putting up new tiers or anything that looks like, hey, we're trying to get, more money from you folks, until we met at least this goal. I mean, if we'd been on time and we had alpha launched when we had originally hoped, yeah, I probably would have had the tiers put up, new tiers put up, or even old tiers put back up. But to me, it just seemed wrong. We were late with alpha, and when you're a game like ours, even as active as we are with the IT folks and as active we are on the forums, we want to be able to show something to our backers. So, we'll have that opportunity starting on Wednesday. What environment will we see in the pre-alpha? Very similar to what you saw during the BSC. Essentially, we took that map, expanded it out, added objectives, added more daises, added some more, trees. We added a couple bushes just for fun, and we're going to be expanding that more and more over the next few weeks. When can we see a stealth archetype? When I get to the stealth system. How much audio is implemented in the test? Bingo. Sorry, none. Do what most people do during their MMO play times anyway. Put on your own music, enjoy it. We are certainly looking and want to get sound and music in reasonably quickly, but that hasn't been a focus of ours. We know it's important. Obviously, I've spoken about this both during the Camelot time, Warhammer, and afterwards. So, yeah, we will have that. Will there be any servers in the EU for alpha testing? Right now, no. We can certainly talk about it, but part of the reason we want to keep the servers, on Amazon and not Amazon, as far as I know, located in Europe, is to see how it is for you European folks. So far, what we're hearing from our internal testers is that they are having absolutely no problem. But You know, this is what we want to test now, so we can get it ready and right at launch. Because you do not want to certainly make those kinds of decisions after you launch. When can I give my extra account to friends? When we have the time to get everything we need in the account editor set up properly. How many players per server and how many servers for PAT? Well, that's part of what we're going to be finding out, won't we? We want to see how many of the servers, you know, can handle. You know, we were over 80 in our last test, and that's per, not for all the servers. That's just with one instance. So we have to see how many we get. Will we have shiny weapons like the BSC client? I think so. Can you be more specific on the timetable for the tests? We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Right now, again, three time slots will absolutely be in the mix. One geared to Europeans, another geared to East Coast folks, another geared to West Coast folks. Question about no Banes and Boons for crafters. No, we just haven't gotten to them yet. Of course, they're going to be Banes and Boons for crafters. Crafters ain't second-class citizens in this game. They're their own class. We just haven't gotten to them yet. Planning on implementing collision detection? Well, some of our IT guys can answer that question for you right now. Question about giving streamers special privileges. I don't think we've given any yet. So not quite sure what you mean. If you think we're in the future not going to give special privileges over the oil backers, we've already done that. We've invited a bunch of IT folks into the game early. We're going to do that even more, you know, over the next few months, over the next couple of years. As some of you guys who I know are in chat know, that I sent out an email a number of months ago inviting the wrong tier into IT, and I apologized to them by telling them that we were going to get into IT free of charge, and we did that. So I think we've shown an awful lot of loyalty towards our backers, and we'll continue to do so. Building construction system, certainly not in this PAT. Question about North American players being able to play on EU servers. Of course. We have said from the beginning that we are not going to region lock in North America and Europe. The reason I cite North America and Europe, because the same thing I said during the Kickstarter for Asia, and that is going to be different, or maybe different. But for European and North American players, no difference. And same as far as I would expect at this point, you know, with South America as well. Will the PAT checklist start implementing pieces of the crafting system? Yeah, that one you'll have to wait and see. A question from somebody who says they got that email and never got into IT. Hey, if you did not get into IT, you did not get that invite, please, please, please contact me on the forums. You know, we will take care of it. As Rhaegar just told you, he got in, and frankly, all I did is took the list of people who got that email, and we invited them in. I know we added at least 176, I think, from that group, and it should have been everybody. So if you have not gotten into IT and you on that list, contact us, please. I want to get you in. When will the next PAT list go up? Probably next week, Mihuge. Maybe this week, but probably next week. Will will we ever see me in a giant duck suit and quacking? Oh, I'm sure that can be arranged. Just a question about the day-night cycle. It's irrelevant in the current build. It's just there for testing. The final day-night cycle will certainly be something we're going to be spending a lot of time getting right. It's just in there now, so Andrew could have a pretty cool initial system where it actually tracks logically and not just based on, oh, we're setting it for a few hours. It's kind of cool. That's going to get even better. Can I give an approximate number of active IT players? I can't give active. The total number of people in IT and above is about 1,000. Expected alpha players, we're taking a pool of about 8,000, maybe almost 9. I have to check the numbers. Give my opinion on how good the PvP aspect is. Right now, it's just fun. It's not, it's not PvP in the sense of Camelot Unchained's PvP will be, but it's just a lot of spells and abilities going off. Again, more to test stuff than anything else, but also to have fun, because I do think it's important for our testers to have a little bit of fun at the same time that they're testing. It just encourages them to play more, and that's what we want. Is there a limit on number of players, AoE effects? No specific limit on AoE effects that you can cast at any one time, or that could be right now on you. I think we do have a limit. But we also will have a limit, as I've talked about, on the number of buffs you can have on you at any one time. Will there be a penalty when you die? Oh, absolutely. What's my thought on concerning real selling money items accounts for real money? Look, it's the same opinion I've had forever. That hasn't changed. You guys, I think everyone out here knows how I feel about those things. When it comes to accounts, it's even in our, it's either in our TOS for the game, or it's on one of my drafts about what people are allowed to do, just like back in the Camelot and Warhammer days. No question of whether technology, how is it progressing with my experience of alpha. Well, we're not in alpha yet. We're not even in pre-alpha officially until Wednesday. Have we been able to do everything we've talked about and dreamed about in BSC? Of course not. I'm sorry. If we'd been able to do that, the game would be ready to go right now. Is it progressing nicely? Absolutely. One of our players during testing said, wow, your projectiles are tracking better than, I won't say the other game, in another game than another games already do, and you guys aren't even in alpha yet. So that kind of made me feel good. Will we be able to adjust Banes and Boons in PAT at will, or just make a new tune? I haven't thought about that. We'll probably, to make it easy, allow for people to do that during PAT. We certainly want to make it easy on you folks to mess around with the Banes and Boons. So. Oh, thank you, Zenimer. Yeah, watching a projectile track when you've launched it and timed it just right, and you've got a sniper essentially up on a hill, and you see that he's beginning his cast, and you're hoping it's a long cast and get to fire, and then you fire a quick projectile to disrupt or kill it. Fantastic. Fun, fun, fun. And, you know, same thing when you see somebody trying to outrun them. It's like watching a Roadrunner cartoon, you know, where the guy is actually trying to get past, and no, missile is just going to keep tracking you. What is a bane and a boon? A bane and a boon are ways that you can customize your character to give him or her a bit more, you know, I wouldn't say panache right now, because the things that we're mostly working on are things that are actually stat affecting, or weapon affecting, damage affecting, health affecting, all sorts of things. So, you know, that's what the banes and boons are for. So things that can be, you know, good for your character, but also things that are bad, frankly, that, you know, in order to get a bane, in order to get a boon, you got to take a bane. Thank you, Genesee. I appreciate that. Question about all alpha backers. Yes, everyone who has alpha is going to be able to get in on the stress tests, and then we're going to break them up into smaller tests. Because frankly, with about 9,000 people, we do not want to spin up, you know, the large instances, you know, larger instances on the Amazon servers, which we pay for by the hour, of course, just to see if people are going to come in or won't come in. So we want to break it down into smaller tests where we can, you know, not have to spin up all those many servers, because they don't spin up, you know, sadly, instantly, not unless you already had them spun up. Am I expecting mandatory bane and boon for races? Probably. Not 100%, but I'm pretty sure we will. That's part of playing a race. I mean, if you've got a race that's a little bit slower, you know, we could certainly implement it without a bane and a boon, but then there may be some things that are very unique about your race that we want to do as a bane and a boon. Question about the typical duration be when a bane or boon is applied. A bane and a boon is not an ability. It is something that is your character. So if you have a bane and a boon, it's there for whenever. It's automatic. You know, it's part of who you are as a character. We wanted you folks to be able to have some fun with your character creation. Frankly, and I've spoken about this, you know, before, my hope is that you spend more time in the character generation system for this game than you have any other game, including some of those games that have awesome character creation systems. And I don't mean by adjusting the hair color or the eye color or the boob slider. I mean your character. You know, what makes him and her tick, you know, the stats that are so important in your character's, you know, life. The banes and boons that are important to your character. That sort of stuff. Will classes be able to use a combination of weapons? Oh yeah, absolutely. I thought I've been very clear about that. You know, you will be able to, you know, use weapons besides the ones that might be appropriate, you know, for your class. You know, I don't think and certainly this is something I've talked about forever. We're not doing that with weapons. We're not doing that with armor. If you want to be a mage who walks around in the heaviest iron armor you could find, go right ahead. You might not like what happens sometimes, but, you know, it's up to you. Will there be a special server for testing UI mods? Haven't thought about that, actually. I would think not, but there may be a reason why, you know, we might want to do that. I'll think about that. And Andrew will think about that. Any word on the next class announcement and story? I know Max is working on a new story, and I'm certainly, for those folks who've been in IT, I've been working on a vision document for one of the, you know, fighter classes. So we'll see what happens there. Question from Knight about UI. Yeah, the UI in our game is probably more customizable than any UI in any MMO that I'm aware of. That was one of Andrew's big things, and I couldn't agree more. Yeah, look at what Tim said. That's a perfect way to really emphasize and highlight how our UI is different. Is there going to be a queue system for stress tests? Absolutely, has to be. Have to see what happens. Got to make getting our code right in the beginning is a good thing. Will archetypes have unique looks? Yes and no. So here's and right now I'm sure the office is laughing, at least those who are listening, because they always hate when I say yes and no. So with the class system, which I assume is what you were talking about, we want to give you the freedom to make up some of your own combinations. And so is it possible that a healer is running around with a sword? Yeah, I have no problem with that. I don't think we've been, again, very clear that, if you want to customize your appearance, if you want to be that healer, you want to, using a sword, you want to be a fighter who uses a staff, go for it. This is up to you. There may be some penalty you'll pay, of course. Again, a mage who's walking around in heavy iron armor might not react well or as well to certain spells. Their movement rate will be slower because they'll probably be more encumbered. So, it's up to you guys. Now, what's important, and this hasn't changed obviously since from before the Kickstarter, the class is very strong. Healers heal. Right now, during pre-alpha, everyone has a base small heal because, frankly, we can't make sure or guarantee we're going to have enough healers in there. But when the game launches, or when we get into beta, certainly, if not in alpha, you're going to see the strength of the individual classes. We don't want fighters who are also healers. We don't want mages who are healers. We want healers who will heal. So, that's just an underpinning of the game. Will we get Archer and Bard archetypes in PAT2? Anything about PAT2 in terms of what will be in there? Please wait until we actually put up the checklist. We're still going through and working out, frankly, this on a feature by feature basis. Could we put a bio section in the character screen? Did you see that thread on Massively? Personally, I'm all for it. I mean, I'm an old mudder, right? So I have no problem with that at all. Will we do it? I don't know. Do I have any problem with it? Not at all. Right now, Piranha, yes. There's more than a few pre-made attack abilities for each archetype, and there'll be even more. One of the things that we're going to be doing over the next month, certainly, is add new abilities to the game. We have to test different things, and now's the time to do it. Question about buff bots. Boy, have I talked about that a lot. I think everyone certainly knows my thank you guys for jumping right in and saving me having to explain how I feel about buff bots. Okay, just a heads up, 15 more minutes in this. I think music needs to be a bit of both. I certainly want music that, if you want to say John Williams style stuff, that maybe a little bit big, old Hollywood style as well for epics. But I think ambient music is also important. Can players communicate in PAT? Absolutely. We want to keep the sides talking to each other, and also so we can see it. But there's no reason at this point to go with realm-specific language. You have a realm-specific channels that you can talk only to folks in your realm, but you speak in general chat in in English or whatever language you want to actually write it. But there will be obviously no communication once we get further along no communication between the realms once we get further along. But for now, it would be foolish not to allow it. Any news on the next stretch goal? Nope, that's one of the things we're talking about. We will be sticking to what I had said a few months ago, though, that the next stretch goal was not going to be a big feature. We certainly have enough things on our plate, and I'm not going to try to raise an additional money for the studio by promising that we're going to add these big, cool new features which could end up delaying the game more. No thanks. For the PATs, what kind of feedback are we looking for? Really bugs and glitches more than anything else right now. Again, these abilities are not exactly how they'll work, certainly, once we get into alpha. But certainly things like, do you feel movement is too slow right now? Do you feel that the character creation system is hard to understand? Or do you like anything, or love anything so much that you don't want it to change? For example, if you look at the character generation, you go, my God, this is exactly what I want. Tweak a couple of things and it'll be perfect. That's the sort of feedback we want as well. When I come after you in game and kill your character, will I get a prize? No, because I'd have to give away a lot of prizes. I do die a lot, but as anyone internal testers can tell you, I also kill an awful lot of people. I was and still am a pretty good sniper. Will I be looking at adding any more ITs? If you mean people from IT, I mean people who are who are not in IT into IT, absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to keep doing that. Anyone who, we've been watching, obviously, the forums. We've been, getting help from other people as well. We're happy to give people, IT access for helping us out. Any other takeaways from the BSC days? No, not really. I mean, the survey results were fantastic. I couldn't be happier with them. They really tracked very nicely with what I expected, though I was a little pleasantly surprised at the whole Vox thing. We had more support than I thought we would have. Now, for those who don't like the concept, it doesn't mean that we're still going to absolutely positively, no chance in hell of changing it. But we did get a lot of even better feedback than I was worried about. So. Yeah, a lot of people kill Andrew when he's working. So, touting that you've killed Andrew when he's sitting and looking at code, that doesn't get a lot of, plus ones. I'm sure some of our guys played DayZ or Rust or other things. Has it influenced anything? No, not really. We play so many games, and the different teams play so many games. Different members of the team play so many different games. It'd be hard to track, to any one game. Any specific ideas on what future stretch goals could be? Yeah, I mean, things like adding another artist, as you say, with a programmer. Don't need to say a stretch goal for a programmer right now because we have open, head count for that. But it certainly could be, for example, another concept artist, could be for another modeler, so we could add more stuff to the world to make it feel a little more worldly. Will founders still outside Alpha be able to at least create characters? At some point, yeah, certainly. I want all of our backers to be able to play with that as well, just not immediately. How has game industry responded to my BSC ideas? Oh, I don't know. I think some people pay attention. I think other people couldn't give a damn what I do. Doesn't bother me at all. Well, the only people I care about, frankly, are the backers. If you guys are happy with it, fabulous. If you guys aren't happy about it, well, then we're screwing up, and I hope not to do that. Cold Steel, I see about your brother. The only problem with that is right now we're not looking for any junior programmers, which unfortunately your brother would be. So, while he may be very talented, it would be very hard for us at the current time to take in another junior programmer. So I'm sorry about that. If we get further along, or when we get further along, that's a different story. In terms of Full Sail, yeah, it can be quite good depending on where you go, who your professors are, and what kind of programmer you are. We obviously have some Full Sail guys here. Question from Travi. Yeah, I look healthy. I take it that your workouts have been going well. Yeah, other than my knees, which don't feel great. I'm usually in braces. Not bad, heavy, just yeah, I've screwed up my knee a few times, braces, when I work out. But yeah, 4 to 5 times a week, an hour to an hour and a half per workout. I've dropped more than 3% body fat in the last week. So, last month, excuse me. So, very happy with that. But thank you for the compliment and caring. Any plans to interconnect guild communication with social media interaction or external messaging systems? Oh, yeah. We can certainly see what happens there. We're not stressing this, though, as, hey, this is the most connected game, because you could go up on Facebook or you can go on Twitter and all that. Not really worrying about that right now. Not our focus. When do we get to chop down a tree? Probably later rather than sooner, but who knows? Will there be guild alliances? I assume we will have a way for guilds to work together. How sticky that is something we'll have to talk about. Yes, right now we're thinking about Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday for the testing, for the stress testing. Sunday, that way we can get a bunch of people who can't get in during the weekend. Okay, guys, 5-minute warning. Are we still looking at or have any interest in solution network architecture consulting from the Metro DC area? It depends what you actually mean by that. Right now we're pretty confident in what we're doing, but I'm always interested in somebody who's got a way that we can improve what we're doing here. When will we see some more gameplay? Frankly, over the next 5 months, as we continue to add things to it. I stressed both at the time of the delay and earlier in this talk and in between that we're focused on tech first and foremost. You know, if the game can't support a lot of people, then we don't have large-scale battles. If we can't have the sort of ability system that works well, then we can't be BSC. So, you know, we need to be very smart about it, and that's why, for example, just as I said with the delay, and I've said since, we haven't spent, you know, any significant amount of time on money to pretty things up, to try to, you know, say, oh, don't worry about this, guys, look over here. We haven't done any of that, don't have any intention to. A question about the depths. There will be control of it, absolutely, in order to get in. Macbeth, thank you very much for your compliment. We appreciate it. Team worked very hard. I had a lot of late nights to get us to where we are. Question about realm ranks. As I've said, anything every time when that question has come up. We don't need realm ranks in the game. The whole game is a realm rank, essentially, if you think about it. We added realm ranks to Dark Age because we needed an advancement system that was different from the main advancement system. But the entire advancement system in this game is RVR. So we don't need realm ranks. We just need things that, you know, will continue to allow players to get more skill, to improve their skills, not just to get new skills, and that will allow players, even within a horizontal system, to have a bit of an advantage over new players, whether it's not only the number of skills, but that they actually get better at them. So adding realm ranks to that right now certainly is not something we need. Any thoughts or ideas on the final game's name? Yeah, a lot of them. You know, at some point, I'll explain exactly why we've been delayed right now. You guys will understand then. Zenzima, thank you very much. Thank you. That's you know, a really nice thing to say. Appreciate it. Oh, Rhaegar, do I love answering the same questions over and over? I really don't mind. Look, it's part of my job. It's part of what, you know, whether the people who are asking those questions are backers or even people who may become backers. The only questions I hate answering again and again are the ones where somebody's trying to talk me into something that, you know, we either haven't promised or wasn't part of the foundational principles or anything like that. You know, because no, we're going to stick to the foundational principles. We're going to stick to what we've said. And just before anyone says, is Mark referring to stealth? No, I'm not referring to stealth at all. Obviously, we talked a lot about stealth, and people on our forums and in IT, thanks, Rhaegar, know that, you know, how I feel about the whole Veil Walker, Veil Stalker idea. Okay, so as is traditional for my Q&As, I'm going to look for one really good question. And so when I see it, I will answer it. And then we will end the Q&A. Oh, wow. Thank you very much. Okay, Bride, that's really nice. Thank you. Okay, I'll answer two questions because the first question will allow me to say something nice about people. Mark, how the hell did you bust so much ass over the last 3.5 months? Because I am blessed to have a very talented and hardworking team, because I have a great partner in Andrew Meggs, because we've got a producer with a sense of humor, because we've got our team led by Scott, who are not only talented but actually love what they're doing, because we added new programmers who've lived up to our expectations and certainly in some cases exceeded our expectations. No, Donnie, I'm not going to cry. But that's why. So that's how we busted, so much ass. And also, we had a lot of help from our IT guys. Did we have all the numbers that I had hoped? No. I was a little disappointed in that. And players know that. But the IT guys who tried to make it and the guys who did make it, they were there. We'd send out last-minute notices, and they would flock to it. Even if we just go into IT and type test, these guys come into it. So that was a really big help, and will continue to be a big help. I am thrilled at the response from our hardcore IT guys, and they will indeed, and they have indeed been a big help to us, and I am very pleased with them as well. And again, the team just did everything they needed to do. Okay, here's a good one. Okay, will the crafting class be the only class to make the best gear? Or will all classes have the same opportunity to make the best gear? The answer is yes. They will be the only class to make the best gear. If you are not a crafter, you can do small crafting stuff, but you cannot be an expert crafter. I have said from the beginning of the Kickstarter, and even before, that our crafters have to be the ones making the great stuff. And that's all there is to it. If you're going to spend the time to be a dedicated crafter, we have to reward you by making sure that you guys are the guys that everyone wants to go to. If I undercut you guys in that way by saying, well, yeah, but these other guys who aren't crafters, they're almost as good as you guys, even that would be a cheat. No, you guys are going to be crafters, and at least the ones who want to be crafters, they're going to be, they're going to be the shit guys. They're going to be what you want, and the guys you have to go to if you want the good stuff. That's all there is to it. So I think that's a good way to end it. And guys, as always, on behalf of everyone at CSE, thank you very, very much for your support. And again, to our IT guys, thank you so much for helping us get to where we are. We'll be setting up the schedule tomorrow, and so you guys will be able to see it. For those guys and gals who are in Alpha, look in your mailboxes later today for our FAQ. Though I may just go ahead and post it on our forums. I'm going to think about that, since frankly there's no reason the backers shouldn't see that as well. So that's it. Oh, question about messaging me as you suggested. Fantastic. Thank you so much. And that's it, guys and gals. And I'll see you soon. Thanks. Well, I put it on standby.